Welcome to Waxing Comical.
This is Waxing Comical.
This is the show by
The
us.
show. Us.
Luke.
That is by Dane.
Yeah, those are our names.
Mine was much more sing-songy.
Yeah. You should be accustomed to my monotone by now.
Like Ben
Viewers.
Stein if he was a ginger.
Thank you.
You said viewers, you should have said Bueller's, you dick. I've never even seen Ferris Bueller, and I still know
How
what
have
reference
not
you
seen
should have
Ferris
made.
Bueller?
Because it's not on.
It's always on somewhere.
Just in general, it's not on. There's a TV right there, and it's not on it.
So if
That's
it was
why I
on,
haven't seen it.
we'd be watching it.
Probably not. I'd probably play some more Mad Max.
Well, there you go.
And watch Lost. So, what is this podcast about?
The Wicked and the Divine.
Wicked and the Divine. It's a comic by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey
And Matt Wilson.
and Matt Wilson. He
And
makes the
whoever does
colors go boom.
Whoever does the letters, because that gets on the cover of the comic for some reason. People who do lettering.
Yeah, that's a job.
It's a job, but there are lots of jobs. Like, if I was a letterer for comics and I didn't get my name on the cover, I would understand. I'd be like, you know what? That's fair.
And that's why they would just walk all over you if you were a letterer.
Yeah. And then they wouldn't fire me because I don't resist.
I mean, you don't get mad about it, but you also don't like back up onto it. Like you let it happen, but it's not like it's not as willing as it could be.
I don't say please.
No, you say please, daddy.
But I don't, is the thing.
Well, maybe that's your problem,
I don't say please, but I do say thank you.
daddy.
Yeah. Wicked and the Divine. It's a great comic.
Oh my god, it's so good. I think I say all this in the podcast, but like I'm like upset with myself for having waited. Like I had the first volume for over a year before I read it, and it's so good. It was just sitting there on my shelf, being amazing.
Don't make that same mistake, people.
Don't be me.
There are a lot of spoilers in this episode if you are the kind of person to avoid those.
Yeah, it's not like a Spider-Man comic where it's just, stories going on for 60 years. It's very, the plot like zips along.
Yeah. There's a lot of drama, a lot of murder
Not really
drama.
any filler.
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward.
So it's kind of hard to talk about without, talking about spoilers.
It's about gods who are reincarnated every 90 years as young people and become entertainers. So if you're an English major and you like analyzing stuff, you can probably say this is like a metaphor for how we treat rock stars in our society. But screw that.
Yeah, because
It's just fun.
That's pretty fruity. Talk
Yeah,
about literature and words and learning.
Pretty pretentious, listeners. How dare
Just
you?
like my younger brother, super pretentious.
Anyway, go read The Wicked and the Divine if you have not.
Yeah, there's 3 volumes of it, plus an extra issue.
Yeah.
It starts volume 4, so go read it, you jabronis.
You keep using this word, jabronis, and I love it.
It's a pretty stellar word.
Yeah. Enjoy the show.
Or else.
This show is brought to you by Jim Jones Fruit Punch. That's Jim Jones, the taste that stays with you for the rest of your life. Talk about The Wicked and the Divine.
I do want to talk about Wickdiv.
Wickdiv, as the kids call it. It's
as
like
you have called it.
Look, I wanted to save time.
And you're an adult man.
I only have so many seconds to type things.
And live.
More than 2 years, preferably.
That wasn't meant to be a threat. That was just like an observation.
Like a foretelling of the future.
Just a statement of fact. Except for me, I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, well, we can't all be Dane.
We'll just go get some quicketings.
Wouldn't I get that from you?
I
this
love the
context.
reference. I love making reference to quickenings because nobody understands what I'm talking about.
I do. I also just assume you're talking about Highlander 2, not the first one.
At all times.
Yeah.
At just any given time, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because I'm talking about Highlander 2,
That's
the quickening.
a safe bet, usually.
Where they have to go back to their home planet of something with a Z.
Scotland?
Nope. It wasn't Scotland.
Is it Zardoz?
It wasn't Zardoz. We need to go back to...
Zerth?
Actually, they didn't need to go back, but Sean Connery had a voiceover, and he was like, Remember something. I'm going to look that up, because that's bothering me now.
You're thinking of the Lion King?
No, that was Africa. That's not a planet, Liz, you racist.
Africa?
It's Africa.
I can do this all day.
Highlander 2.
You even type with an accent.
Zeist. The planet is called Zeist.
Zeitgeist?
Nope.
Alright. Anyway, none of that is The Wicked and the Divine.
In The Wicked and the Divine by Kieran Gillen.
And Jamie McKelvey for the most part.
Jamie McKelvey for the most part, yeah.
When it's good.
It's still good, it's just...
It was fine, but it
wasn't as well drawn.
Like, Jamie McKelvey's art, it's like, compared to the people in Volume 3, it's not a matter of them being bad artists.
Yeah, I'd never heard of any of the people in Volume 3.
Yeah, I don't even remember what their names were.
I feel like they were just like friends of Kieran Gillen, but he was like, hey, you wanna do an issue here? I'll cut you a break here.
But like, it's not even a matter of them being bad, it's just that McKelvey's art is so good.
It's so good. There's something about it that's so good, and I can't even describe what's so good about it.
It looks like there's a lot more effort put into it.
It's so clean. Maybe that's what it is.
Which I guess we should say...
Clean like baby.
It's Jamie McKelvey and, Matt Wilson, I think?
Something like that.
Who does the colors, and colors are a big part of it, so I think he should get as much credit. Because this is...
that Tokyo Ghost, I just started reading, that Sean Gordon Murphy, I think his name is, who does the art for that and Chrononauts. I think he usually works with the same colorist, so his art looks very consistent and cool.
That's nice. I like consistent art.
Me too.
It's nice to just read like a whole series where it doesn't suddenly look like it's a flashback or someone's hallucinating.
like Walking Dead, where other than the first 6 issues, it's been done by the exact same artist.
And pretty much the same thing for Invincible, right? First 7 issues.
The only time, pretty much only ever switches between 2 guys, and the first guy only ever did, so far has done probably less than 20 issues.
Yeah, and
so he's doing the new one.
Strangely,
they're new ones.
Strangely, they are pretty similar art. The 2 guys that did Invincible.
Yeah, well, more so in the beginning. Now his art looks completely different. The first guy, it looks way better than it used to. It was still good, but it looks like he's gotten so much better.
Well, either way.
Yeah, I was very glad that Jamie McKelvey did the Woden issue of Volume 3.
Yeah, that was...
Because I'm very interested in that character.
Trippy. I'm somewhat interested in him. He's kind of a dick. He's entirely a dick.
He's a dick,
but that doesn't mean he's not interesting.
I think whatever's going to happen hinges on him either staying with or betraying Ananke. Is that her name?
Ananke. Yeah, there are a lot of hard to pronounce names in this, which I didn't.
Laura.
I didn't think at first that they were hard to pronounce until I looked up some of the names and realized that I was imagining them all wrong.
Like a dummy. Or a white.
Dummy. Because apparently I have not boned up on my ancient mythology enough.
Well, that's kind of your fault. How is bad pronounced again?
From what I saw, the best I could make of it is Beth.
Beth?
Beth. It's hard to... It's not a combination of sounds that exists in English, is the thing.
Oh.
So it's kind of like... It's like Bath, like you're saying, B-A-T-H, and then with kind of somewhere between an F and a V after that, immediately. Beth. Yeah. So it's like Beth. Like kind of...
Oh, is that like it's like a Welsh thing?
Probably. I think it's Irish.
The 5-Year Engagement.
It doesn't sound like something I've watched.
It was very funny. It was Jason Segel and Emily Blunt. It's good. It's got Chris Pratt in it as well. It's very funny. Like, you wouldn't expect it to be so funny.
Not from that title, no.
Chris Pratt does a parody of "We Didn't Start the Fire," set to the names of Jason Segel's character's ex-girlfriends.
I think you have shown
Very
me that.
amusing. But Rhys Ifans is in it, and he plays like a Welsh professor at some college in Chicago, maybe. And I think he has a dog named, I think it was like Gwyneth, and Jason Segel kept pronouncing it as Gwyneth. But I think he spelt it. It was a whole thing. But
I'm
like
sure there were lots of
so
W's and Y's in it.
So maybe that's similar to Bath.
Because the Welsh still haven't found vowels. They haven't
They
invented
don't
those
get
yet.
it. Like, 2 L's is pronounced as a C? What does that mean?
Well, my last name starts with 2 L's and is Welsh in origin, so
Coid?
I'm going to disagree. Yeah. No, it's...
I only know that because of a Jimmy Carr joke, where some audience member corrected him on pronouncing a village name or something, and he said, "Don't be a lunt about it."
Anyway. Yeah. The art and the writing, the stories all around, just awesome.
Stellar. Like, I got the first volume over a year ago, like Christmas 2014, and I just hadn't, like, got around to reading it yet. And I thought, like, it's going to be okay. I like these guys, but it's not going to be anything amazing.
Yeah.
And then, you were like, hey, we're doing a next episode. So I was like, oh, I guess I got to read it. I'll probably resent it now. And it was amazing.
Now you resent the last year of your life.
Exactly. Well, no, actually, I'm kind of glad just because now I had 3 volumes to read instead of just 1. Because at the time, 1 was all there was.
Yeah.
So at least I had, 17 issues plus the most recent one from Volume 4 to read.
Yeah.
As opposed to just 5.
Which is good, because if it ended on the 3rd volume right now, I would not be very happy with it. But, yeah, I didn't know... I knew of Kieran Gillen. Wasn't super familiar with his work. And McKelvey I don't think I'd heard of. So, like, this was one of the first comics I bought that I pretty much knew nothing about. Like, I hadn't...
When did you get it on? You get it on Black Friday last year?
No, I don't think so. It was just on some Amazon sale. It was on sale for $6.66.
Oh yeah, because volume 1s of Image Comics for $10. So
it was just a third off.
Worth buying anyway.
Yeah, and so like I really like all the cover art, which is just close-ups of the characters' faces.
I like the Chip Zdarsky one in the back of volume 1 where it's just the 2 creators with like Ziggy Stardust makeup.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm sure he enjoyed that.
Fun.
He's a delight.
You saw his quote on the back of, like, what was it, Volume 3?
Yeah.
It's like, The Wicked and the Divine is a book that continues to be published by Image.
From Chip Zdarsky, artist of about 1% of this volume.
He's a delight. Yeah, I think they just used his art from Sex Criminals when they did a porn parody called The Wicked and the Divine.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It looks like they just inserted it over Jamie McKelvey's art for stuff that Woden was watching.
But yeah, so I went in with no expectations on this, and loved it.
I actually went in thinking, like, this might be not great, just because all the characters are, like, young people.
Yeah, I guess all
young people.
All I knew was the tagline, which, for anyone who hasn't read it, is, every 90 years, 12 gods return as young people. They are loved, they are hated, in 2 years, they're all dead. It's happening now, it's happening again. So I thought, this is just a...
Chills.
It sounded to me like Neil Gaiman's Eternals, like just kind of a modern take on godlike characters that. Obviously, it's not exactly
you read
like
Eternals, right?
Yeah.
God, I was going to read that again.
It was alright.
It was good.
But yeah, it's just about these 12 or 13, as it turns out, gods that are.
Do the Earther, whatever count as
Earther.
1 or 3?
I mean, that's kind of confusing, but I guess they are like one entity, or that doesn't even make any sense. I don't know.
Maybe it's like a hive mind.
Maybe they do speak together when they first go to perform. They're like the 3-headed. What was it? 3-headed singer from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I just thought a reference I get.
Oh, this is one of the sketches they would do on Whose Line, where there would be 3 of them and they have to sing one word at a time. But that's how they
Wayne
talk.
Brady. You're saying that Earther reminds you of Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not see
I can
that?
wrap my head around that.
I mean, there's also the Morrigan, who is like three different
people in one.
personalities.
One of whom has just terrible hair.
Yeah, it's
Annie.
barely any hair.
Name.
It's like a soul patch on her forehead.
it's a tuft of hair, like not even in the center, just like off to the side.
Isn't that what like Tintin's hair is?
Yeah, I think it is. Or Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown has like a squiggle.
Yeah.
This is at least like a colored
patch
of hair.
Art. If Jamie McKelvey drew Charlie Brown, that's probably what it would look like.
That would look weird. Yeah. I don't know. When I first read, the first volume of this, I thought, like, the first word that came to mind to describe this comic was sexy. And it's like, it's not even about sex. It's just a really nice thing to look at. Like, it's just beautiful art. It's
okay,
all
pervert, keep it in your pants.
It's all spectacle. And I don't know, it's just really fun to read, and third volume just kind of ruined that.
It was
no
kind of
longer fun to
disappointing
look
that, spoiler alert, Lucifer dies at the end of the first volume because she was a pretty fun character.
Yeah. I assumed she was...
I've liked more, I've liked all of them more as it's gone on, because as it went on, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a douche, or this girl kind of sucks. But I've liked more of the gods more as I've read it.
Yeah. And I was surprised when Lucifer was killed, because she seemed to be kind of like a fan favorite type of character. I like how... I guess it's mostly my assumption, but it seems like all of the gods are based on a different genre of music, or in some cases like a specific person. Do you agree? Is it something you noticed at all?
I'd say yeah, but it's kind of hard to tell like what genre they are.
Well, like Lucifer, they mention as like looking like David Bowie, and she just
so hot
and androgynous.
And 17 years old.
Just kind of like that kind of glam rock. I think she was 19 when she died.
Was she?
Yeah, they were kind of ambiguous on some of the ages. Most of them were.
Well, she had look at her gravestone. That should have said the years. I think that's like one of the few that we actually can get a definite age on. Because her name was Eleanor Rigby.
Second volume.
Also, did Ball? How'd you say his name was pronounced again?
Bale, apparently. Although in the
Bale.
second volume, when they go to that Pantheon, which is like a Comic-Con for the gods, there's a restaurant there that says "Ball you can eat buffet."
Bale you can eat.
So, I don't know.
Does he spontaneously grow a beard in Volume 3?
Yeah, that just comes out of nowhere. I don't know what that happened. I guess that's one of his powers. It looks like Lucifer was born in July of 95 and died in January of 2014. So she was...
So 18, 19?
Yeah, 18. She would have been 19 that year.
Okay. And Laura, I think, is 17.
Yeah, Laura's 17. Amaterasu is 17. Minerva is...
Is it Amaterasu?
Yeah, I had to look that one up too.
This whole time I've been saying Amaterasu.
Yep. You're not alone. Minerva is the youngest, who is 13 by the point we are now in the comics.
Yeah, she just had her birthday.
Yeah. And I'm not...
And her parents suck.
Yeah. I assume Minerva is like supposed to be like Michael Jackson, because she's got like these overbearing parents who are just milking her for all of the profit, like forcing her to sign
and her dad's
autographs.
name is Joe Jackson. Specifically.
She goes around with a couple of sticks tied to her and 4 puppets on either side. It's horrifying. Because she's literally someone who like won't have a full childhood.
Yeah, but she's famous though. What are you not getting about that?
That never goes wrong. Let's see. Bale is like hip hop, rap.
Is he? Or are you saying that just because he's black?
He's not the only black character. If he was,
that's true.
then
Rihanna's there.
Maybe that would be offensive. But no, he seems like I mean, you don't actually hear any of their music, so it's like you can't really make any assumptions other than based on the appearance and how they present
Oh, you mean
themselves.
skin color?
He seems to present himself in the way that rappers
As a
typically
rapist?
do.
Well, so does Mac DeMarco.
Mac DeMarco is a special snowflake that doesn't
That's
fit
true.
into any of our
Can fit a cigarette
categorizations.
between his teeth.
It's a special trick. Amaterasu, I don't know, I assume they keep calling her like a hippie. So I assume kind of like a Janis Joplin type, like psychedelic rock, something like that. That's mostly an
Woden is
assumption.
clearly just Daft Punk.
Yeah, Woden is literally one of the members of Daft Punk.
He's both Daft Punks stuck together.
That one's more obvious, I think. And then I guess Dionysus is just like some other sort of electronic, like house music, rave music.
Moby. I bet it's Moby.
Is it Moby? Moby. Yeah. That makes sense. He is bald.
Baphomet is pretty rad. I like him.
Yeah,
I like him
Baphomet,
more now.
he's kind of a punk rock kind of guy, I think. What with the leather jacket and the rebellious attitude.
And aviators and six pack.
Yeah, punk rock.
And his teeth.
Yeah, is he a vampire? Is that...
I think he's a demon. Well, I don't think he's a demon because Ananke said something about demons as if that was like a thing that happens, but not like any of them were one.
So did Lucifer.
So,
like she said
I
that
assume
she
he's
should
not
have
an
some
actual
demons.
demon.
I mean, they kind of patronize him as being not a real god because there's never been a Baphomet before. But he's still one of the pantheon, so I don't know. I guess it counts.
So take that.
Yeah, it's first time
Yes,
for
he is a
everything.
god.
Inanna, which I didn't look that up, so I assume I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Is
I hope you're pronouncing that right because it's like it seems so straightforward. Like, what could that
the
possibly
alternative
be
would
other
be
than
Inanna.
Inanna? Yeah, let's go with Inanna.
He's clearly just Prince.
Yeah.
Like, he's very clearly Prince.
What's her face? Sekhmet is Rihanna.
Is Rihanna, yeah.
She's just straight up Rihanna.
Yeah, they say that at one point. They
Yeah, Laura has like a picture or like a drawing of her in her room, and she
Yeah.
says that she did a drawing of her, but it turned out looking like Rihanna.
which is weird because it still looks exactly like her.
And she doesn't have a black eye.
Oh, well, I mean, technically. Morgan, I guess, is like goth rock or...
Maybe she's like the chick from Evanescence.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Something like
I
that.
think that's the first time I've said chick in reference to like a lady in like 5 years. Probably more.
And that'll be it for another 5.
Yeah, I'm good for a while.
Uh,
My dance card's full up.
Tara, we don't see much of, but
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
Like,
no-
she seemed
no
like
one-
a perfectly nice lady.
no one likes Tara for some reason. I guess for
For
her
some
not...
reason, like even like the Pantheon hates her,
Yeah.
and everybody hates her. Also, so
Laura,
even
Laura hates her. Yeah, she just seems like she doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but she still does shows, and then I guess wants to play her own music or poetry or whatever, and people just
and wear a mask.
hate it. I say not so much from what we see of her, but there's one point where I think Lucifer says something about, like, makes some reference to Tara having worn a meat dress, like just kind of in passing.
It's like if she's Lady Gaga.
So she must be Lady Gaga, which
Yeah.
doesn't really make any sense with the rest of her story, I guess. But I don't know. She does wear a mask. That seems like something Lady Gaga would do.
Yeah, she only shows up in one issue as well, and then she dies.
Yeah, it was. I felt bad because when I read the first volume, her face is the cover of of issue 6, which is weird because she hadn't been in the
Wait,
story
issue
at
6
all.
isn't in the first volume.
Or sorry, issue 5 maybe.
Dumbass.
Maybe it was it was issue 5. You're right.
Okay,
It was the last issue.
I know
of
I'm
volume
right.
1. And
I'm always right, Luke.
so, like, she's not even in the first
Because of all
volume.
of my quickenings.
You've got too many quickenings. So, like, she's not even in the first volume. But, like, I got to issue 5 and I was like, oh, wonder who that is. She's hot. She's like the the most attractive of all the gods so far.
Well, you're just objectifying her like everybody else
I was
online.
gonna say, and then the next, once she actually shows up, it's like, oh, this is the god that has been dealing with like being objectified all her life and is depressed and ends up killing herself because of it.
And you're part of the problem.
And I felt like a piece of shit.
I don't even remember that cover, so I guess I'm a better person than you.
Well, look it up. She's got like a face,
Boobs.
half a face
Boobs.
of blue.
Boobs?
Nope, it's from the neck
Boobs.
up, Dane.
Well, what's the point? Remember that Matt Bronger thing? He said that guy was like trying to hit on that girl on that bus at like 10 a.m.
That's not the point!
Yeah, that's the point, though. He's a funny man.
I enjoy him.
I like his bit about talking to his therapist after his girlfriend broke up with him, like around the mall, and he got in his car and started laughing and realized that everybody watching them probably thought that the guy was breaking up with him.
I forgot about that.
I think I've watched that special like 3 times. It's like background noise when I do other things now.
I could watch that again.
You should be watching the Jimmy Carr one.
And then Earther, which looks like Erder, but
With a line through part of the B.
yeah, which is when I was rereading that today and noticed that, and I was like, wait a minute, that's must be a different letter. It's probably some dumb spelling or some dumb pronunciation that I don't know, and that was it. So it's more like Earther.
The first time I saw her name, I just assumed there was like a smudge in my book.
You assumed that she was some sort of rural juror?
Roger.
Rural juror Earther. So Earther, I guess, is like the My Chemical Romance of the god community. She's just
comics?
kind of like an emo, just kind of an emo rock sort of thing. She looks very depressed, and her, like, the one time she sings, you see the lyrics, and it's just all like, life doesn't matter. Life is a void.
It doesn't matter. I used to have a penis.
You know what? I like that. I like that she's like...
It's not like a big deal.
Yeah, she's a trans character. The first time they mention it, I didn't even pick up on it when Lucifer insults her. Like,
yeah, I was like, is she really? Or are they just saying that? Because like, they don't bring it up ever, which it was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's
they bring it up thing,
but it's not like, yeah, not like the BK Kids Club where there's the kid in the wheelchair.
She's not like a token trans person.
Yeah.
And she's not like her identity is not based on that. It comes up a couple times, and then that's
I think twice I remember it coming up.
I feel like there's
they
a later
mentioned
part.
It one time, I don't know. Yeah, they mentioned it the first time, and then later Woden, like, invites her to be a Valkyrie and says he's not transphobic.
Yeah. Lyrics to her song, "The void swallows us."
Sing it.
No. The void swallows us. Nothing means anything. Everything is nothing. Meaning is irrelevant. It's so cold. It lasts forever. It's all there is. So small, so alone. We only have each other. It's never enough. And everyone loves it.
Yeah, because they're pandering to the gods. You ever watch the? I assume you haven't watched like Family Guy in like years.
It's been a while.
There was an episode where remember Joe had a son.
Yeah.
Kevin, he came back in one episode. Said he'd like been in the military and that like a bomb exploded and put him into a coma. It turned out it was all a lie. Like he like just faked his death or something and left, like went AWOL. But he was like at Thanksgiving dinner with everybody. You know, it was all the characters basically in the neighborhood, and he was like, I really want to read this poetry I wrote. And Brian was like, I'm gonna stop you there. If I can guess the first 2 lines, will you not read it? And he's like, I don't think you'll be able to. And he's like, is it something like, oh God, what was it? It's like, is it something like freezes like fire, burns like ice, or something like that? And he's like, okay. Never mind, read that. Cold as fire, burns like ice. I think that's what it was.
Sounds about right. That's how all my poems start.
You got a definite theme going. I don't think I could write poetry. Like I'd want to kick my ass too much.
No, you just write it down and then throw it away and burn it up, and no one ever has to see it, Dane. That's what we all do. So yeah. Anyway, we haven't really talked about the actual plot of the comic.
Yeah, we barely even mentioned Laura, and she's literally the main character.
The main character, who I
For the
don't
first
know
two volumes.
what genre she is. She gets skulls in her eyes when she sings.
Young people.
Pop.
She's young people.
Bubblegum pop.
Demons. I'd be a demon.
So basically, in this world, every 90 years, 12 gods.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm already gonna interrupt you. I'm unclear on as to like whether or not it's just an accepted fact that they're gods, or if it's just something that like they say they're gods and people are like, okay.
Well, I mean, that seems to be part of it, is that it's unclear. Like, for the first, or at the beginning of the comic, it seems like it's not widely believed. Like, or
Yeah.
Cassandra, at least, who's a journalist who's following the gods, like, she doesn't believe that they're gods. She believes that they're just a bunch of kids who are
People.
Just writing off of this myth and using it to
Exploding heads and stuff by snapping their fingers.
But that hasn't happened
displaying
yet.
Actual magic.
That
yeah,
hadn't happened yet. Before that, she doesn't believe in it. Then Lucifer is, almost assassinated, and so she kills her would-be assassins with the with the snap of her fingers. And so then everyone's like, oh, okay, this is real. These people are magic. And up until then, like, I guess...
And then just mass suicides.
Presumably their fans, knew and didn't
Yeah, I
just
think
believe
it's pretty clear that like anybody that goes to their concerts or whatever they do, like knows that they're magic.
Yeah, because they get like an actual...
But I just wasn't sure if because people like mentioned the past pantheon, and so I just wasn't sure if that's just like an accepted thing, like, oh, every 90 years for 2 years we have actual magic people in the world.
Well, I mean, it's...
Or if it's just like or like myths.
Since it's 90 years, the last one was in 1920, and so that was the first one that was ever recorded. But being the 1920s, it wasn't
There was
reliable.
the dude who runs the fan convention or whatever.
Yeah.
He said something like, "Hey, this," like he's talking about the current pantheon. He's like, "This one is nothing like, not as good as the." He said the 1920s one, and then he made reference to like someone in like the 1600s.
Yeah, well, that was before the pantheon showed up. He was saying that he didn't think the current generation deserved one because they speak to their current generation, and this one is too lazy and entitled and whatnot.
Oh my god, they so are phones and stuff.
Right. So, but I mean, it seems like something that's been recorded, not on video or anything, but just like something that's been kept track of over the centuries.
Yeah.
But every 100 years, I mean, it's easy for 90 years later for someone to say, well, okay, that's clearly a myth because no one else is alive. No one's alive for 2 of them in a row, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So since
I just wasn't sure, like until I think either the end of Volume 1 or the beginning of Volume 2, when basically the cops just like stand down and let the Pantheon like deal with Lucifer, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, is this like a thing people like? Is this just like a widely known thing that they're magic?
I think they had tried to stop her, just like it didn't get shown because one of the cops is on fire at the end of that.
Maybe he just smoked a cigarette next to a gas pump. That's what happens, Or he made a cell phone call next to a gas pump, because that's also what happens.
Yeah, you got to discharge your static electricity.
That sounds like nonsense, though, that thing you just said.
It's a thing that is on gas pumps that it says you should do. I have never consciously
done it.
done
They do that on Mythbusters, or some show like that.
Probably.
Where they filled a trailer with gasoline and just all sorts of electricity and crap, and they put a phone in it and had it dial, and just nothing happened.
And the phone didn't work anymore.
Because all the gasoline fumes melting it.
After Lucifer escapes from jail, she's walking down the street, and in the background you see a line of riot police, but they are well off in the distance, not getting close. 2 cops are running towards the riot police, from her, so don't know what happened to them. And then there's 1 cop that's on fire, and another one's putting him out with a fire extinguisher.
It's just called teamwork.
Yeah. Plus there's multiple cars that are on fire. One of them is flipped upside down, so she was angry.
A little bit.
Yeah, so every 90 years, 12 gods are reincarnated as young adults So these are people who have already lived their lives up to that point, and then suddenly are also gods.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if it's like. It seems like. Again, we don't really know exactly what's going on, or if they are gods or whatnot, but it seems like the god that they are is a separate entity from themselves, because they don't have any memories of their past lives.
Do they not?
Not really. A couple of them make mention of it, but it seems like it's something they researched, because, like...
Wait. You mean their past lives as gods?
Yeah. I
thought you meant like their past, like their previous, 16 years before they realized they were gods.
They remember their modern lives. They don't seem to have any memories of past lives as gods.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying.
It's like they still have their own personalities, just plus god powers, which is also kind of vague
plus divinity.
Yeah, which means like a different thing for every person. Some of them can make fire. Some of them can conjure up spirits, or
some of them, like Woden, can basically do nothing for themselves.
Woden can make suits of armor, I guess, and open up a
tall
Bifrost.
Japanese women.
He can open up portals.
Yeah. Like, that seems pretty rad to me. He seems like kind of down in the dumps about it, but teleportation is pretty cool.
Yeah, some of them can teleport.
Through a rainbow portal.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of them can just teleport. He makes a rainbow portal and travels through that. Some of them can... I guess they all have some level of like super strength or invulnerability.
Snapping powers?
They all snap to do most of their powers for whatever reason. I guess that's their version of a magic wand. Some of them count.
I think Laura counts 1, 2, 3, 4 before she does magic.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that, because they do that sometimes, but it didn't seem to be any pattern for when they do it. Like, it's the very first thing you see in the comic is what's left of the Pantheon from the 1920s killing themselves by saying 1, 2, 3, 4. And there was one time, I think Morgan and Baphomet were doing some magics, and Morgan...
having sex?
It might have been a metaphor for it. I think Morgan, like, says 1, and Baphomet's like, 2! Oh, you gotta warn me before you start. Like, apparently it was a big deal. I don't know. But yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna turn out that, like, they're not actually reincarnated gods, but Ananke turns them into gods, so, like, she could have just picked anybody, and she pretends that it's, like, fate or whatever.
Yeah, Cassandra asks her how she picks the gods, and she says she doesn't, that she just finds them, and...
But Ananke has been shown to be a goddamn liar.
Yeah, well, especially in the case of Baphomet, who was very explicitly chosen by Morgan. Like, she said, this is my boyfriend, can you turn him into a god, please? And she's like, well, alright.
Okay.
I'll do it. Plus, it just seems like okay, they all are too conveniently in the same place. Like, everyone's...
Yeah, they're all in England.
Everyone's in England, but more than that, they've all, like, run into each other already. So, like, Laura, who turns out to be the 13th god, the main character of the comic, she is already, like, in with them and becomes friends with most of them. Cassandra.
But maybe like, they're just drawn to each other.
Yeah, maybe. I figured that would be the...
I do absolutely, like, 50%, I think, that it's going to turn out that she just picks whoever. But also, if it doesn't, then it could just be that they're, inexplicably drawn to other people who either are or are going to be gods.
Yeah. Which could make sense if it's just that, like, people who are going to be gods, except for Cassandra for some reason, are just, more inclined to be fans and, just come closer to them, seek them out, because...
I guess Cassandra did, she just wasn't a fan. But she got close to all of them.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, she's the only one who just doesn't feel anything from them. So they say
I wonder if that's going to come into play.
I don't know. But, like, Laura, Inanna, and Dionysus, at least, were, like, fans of the various gods and went to their shows before becoming gods themselves. Forgot to look back. They mentioned that Dionysus was at that first show...
in the sewer, or whatever, the underground.
The Morgans.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can see him.
Well, a bald guy. I think you'll find him.
I see a guy with short hair. He's not bald, though. I don't see any bald
Is
people.
he balding?
He could have. Everyone's hair changes when they become gods, apparently, so that doesn't mean much.
And he gets like a calendar man tattoo on his forehead.
Sort of, except it's more like a wreath, one of those. I don't know what they're called, olive wreaths or something that Roman people
olive branch.
wore.
Caesar hat. I think they're called Caesar hats.
Caesar hats. There aren't a lot of good shots of the people there. I don't know. Yeah, it's I guess it's a world where gods are rock stars, and that's pretty much what they do. That's just
they rock.
They're told that they have 2 years to live, and so go perform some music. And
why do they
change
only have
people's
2 years
lives.
to live? I mean, like not so much why, but because the ones in the 20s like killed themselves. What if they hadn't?
Yeah. That's another thing I'm wondering is if, like you were saying, Ananke, who is their mentor, just kind of the boss of all the gods.
She's the Emperor Palpatine of this comic, it seems.
Pretty much. She starts
and
out.
Woden is Darth Vader. I just figured it out.
So Laura is Woden's daughter.
Gross. Because I think they're the same age.
More or less. Yeah. So Ananke, she starts out seeming kind of benevolent and a mentor to everyone, and then at the end of the second volume you find out that she's... I don't want to say evil, because we don't know what's going on yet,
bitch.
But she's been behind a lot of the deaths and is killing the gods herself. But I'm wondering if it'll turn out at some point that like what she's doing really is necessity, and like, maybe one time the gods weren't killed right away and they took over the world because they have so much power and they just couldn't resist. And so she has to
killing them like when they're supposed to be killed, because the thing it says is that they're going to be dead within 2 years. So that could be 1 second from you being a god, like Laura, or 2 years away. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's just a vague time frame. So I mean, she mentioned the whole thing is that she is necessity, is what she refers to herself as. Is that she's kind of
her name's Ananke.
Her name is Ananke, which means necessity.
Does it?
Yeah, I think Laura looks it up on Wikipedia at one point. And she was...
Oh, yeah, I don't remember what it said, but I do remember her looking it up.
Yeah, Ananke, like...
On her cracked phone.
She used to be one of the gods, but then basically every time the gods came back, they didn't have any guidance, and so they were defeated by dark forces. Also kind of vague. It's just there were gods at the beginning of time, and also darkness, and they fought each other. And Ananke gave up her divinity.
It sounds pretty rad.
It sounds rad, and I want to see a prequel about that, but actually this does set up for, like, you could have a bunch of spin-offs of this comic of each recurrence.
Pantheon.
Each pantheon. And that would still be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, she seems... Either she is some sort of necessity that is doing the right thing and we just don't know it yet, or she's evil and she's been absorbing god powers for the last many thousands of years.
I could absorb god powers if I wanted to.
Go ahead. Do it.
I don't feel like it.
But in the meantime, she's just pitting all the gods against each other. Which
asshole. Has
now backfired because some of them have branched off and formed an underworld faction.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think it's pretty clear that Bale is gonna defect as well.
Yeah, I'd say Woden is iffy. He's already kind of a dick. Sekhmet probably won't be good because she just is
a lunatic,
an animal.
Also Rihanna.
She ate her dad. So that happened.
Maybe he tasted good.
Who else is still alive? Dionysus is pretty peaceful. I doubt he'll be involved in the fighting at all.
Who else is there?
Uther.
Who knows?
I don't know. And Amaterasu also is pretty peaceful. Turns out most of the gods don't. Well, I guess not most of them. Some of the gods don't like fighting.
Maybe Nanki will just like make a bunch of new. Like if my theory is correct, maybe she'll just make a bunch of new gods to fight them.
Maybe she seems to have that power since she just arbitrarily decided, oh, there should be a 13th god for the first time ever.
And then I'll kill her immediately.
Yeah.
Snap.
That's one of the most confusing things to me right now, because when she turns Cassandra into a god, it takes a lot out of her. She's exhausted from it. So if it takes that much energy to create one, it seems silly to create one and immediately kill her. Because, one, she shouldn't be at full power, so it might not have worked. And two, why bother making her in the first place?
Maybe it doesn't take a lot out of her, and she was just saying that to create a perceived weakness.
Maybe. She does lie a lot.
Because she's old. Old people lie.
She told Baphomet that he could get some years added to his life if he killed another god, which might be true, might not be, don't really know.
Yeah, we don't really know. You have to say their name when you kill them.
But he killed Inanna/Prince. So...
Yeah, Inanna seemed like a good guy.
Yeah.
But I also like Baphomet. Like, he's clearly one of the good guys. So who knows what's going on.
Because he kind of killed that one guy that we just said.
He's like a huge dick, but I don't think he's a bad guy.
He murdered a person. What?
Yeah, but it was Prince.
He was super nice, and he loved hugs. Baphomet, one of Baphomet's powers is to conjure a devil version of his face over his shoulder to convince him to do bad things.
And he can appear in burgers?
He can appear in ketchup on burgers.
As long as the ketchup is in a pentagram.
It's a very niche power, but he makes use of it at least once.
And he can make fake talking heads that look like people's heads that he's cut off.
Yeah, he might just be a very skilled special effects artist.
He's not actually a god at all, he's just wearing fake vampire teeth.
He can control statues of Jesus.
Can he now? I don't remember that.
That's how he killed Inanna, Inanna was standing in front of like one of those giant crucifixes you see in a church with a giant Jesus, and it reached down and grabbed him and held him tight.
Huh, I don't remember that.
Rotated.
Actually, I totally forgot that he killed him when I started reading Volume 3, and I had to go back and be like, oh yeah, he totally murdered that guy.
He can also make ghosts appear, but they look like actual ghosts, or not actual ghosts.
Luke,
like
I was going to say, Luke, what do actual ghosts look like?
I don't know why I said actual. I meant like cartoon ghosts that you would see in old cartoons. They just look like people with sheets over them.
Wait, his do?
Yeah, and when they're in the subway, he conjures a bunch of ghosts out of the ground, and they all just look like long, thin sheets with holes for eyes.
Yeah, ghosts.
Yeah.
What are you confused about?
I never said I was confused. I'm just describing things. Yeah. What else?
I don't know. I really want to know more about Woden. Because he seems to be like a giant pervert and an asshole. But also he wears a mask and we never see his face, so that just immediately makes him more interesting.
Yeah, he says because he can give other people powers and armor and stuff, but he can't give himself the same abilities, and he said that when he tried, whatever happened led to him wearing his mask, his helmet. So he's like the Doctor Doom of this story.
That's pretty rad. Everyone likes Doctor Doom, and he's so handsome.
Especially Doctor Doom. Every time I say Woden, I just want to watch Tron again.
I don't.
I enjoyed them. Well, I enjoyed them.
I don't remember much of them, but I don't remember caring to watch them again.
I mean, I didn't think it was like a smart movie or anything. It was just fun.
I don't need fun, okay?
You know what? It's better than Sucker Punch.
I'm sure most things are. Having never seen Sucker Punch, I'm sure most things are.
Just don't watch that movie.
I don't want to.
You're a stronger man than I. I also noticed that, kind of out of nowhere, in the most current issue, a Nanki has, like, a battle mask thing.
Yeah.
Like, face armor. I'd forgotten about that.
And Woden had like battle armor.
Yeah, but he can make that.
And a giant gun.
Yeah, because the gods love guns. It just seemed weird for a Nanki to have anything other than her old lady funeral veil that she always has.
Is it a veil? I thought it was like a mask.
It's pretty see-through.
A see-through mask.
It's like lace and looks like something someone would wear if they were
at
mourning.
A funeral?
Yeah. Anything else?
I like Woden's style. Tall Asian girls.
I don't think that counts as a style.
Like a deal. His whole deal.
His sexual preference.
Exactly. That thing.
Yeah, I mean, he does keep with a theme.
Yeah, he even mentioned, he brought that up and said it was like something he was like trying to do or something. I don't know. I don't remember what he said.
Aesthetic or something like that. Like,
yeah. It's like, what does that mean?
It's just his image. He's got 2 years to cultivate a very nice image as someone who does not hate Asians or trans people.
Yeah, it's very specific about those two ideals.
But he doesn't like short people.
No, short people got no reason to live. According to Randy Newman.
We should all be so wise as Randy Newman.
Oh, I don't think we could handle that brain capacity.
And that nasally voice. Yeah, I guess Terra's the saddest of all.
Yeah, I really hope we get at least one more issue explaining what the hell's going on with her, or went on with her, because she's dead.
Yeah, she's just...
Unless they just start bringing back the dead gods to join Laura, because Laura came back to life, so
yeah, maybe
they'll bring back Terra and Lucifer. And Inanna.
I guess they're the only ones who are dead so far, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That would be rad. I would like to see more of Lucifer, too.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. I need to go back and look through that scene in Sex Criminals to see how accurate it is to her character.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time because I hadn't read this yet. But
like I knew about it. I was like, oh, I have that comic that I haven't read yet. So that's as far as I cared about it.
Anyway, who's your favorite god in the comic, not in real life?
Probably either Woden or Baphomet.
I like Dionysus because
I don't like bald people.
he got a tattoo. That means he's not bald anymore.
A tattoo of hair.
It's not even good hair. It's like Homer Simpson hair. Because he's just like... all he wants to do is party. He's like the Andrew WK.
Maybe that's what he's supposed to be, Andrew WK.
Maybe. Huh, that would make a lot of sense. Except for, the not hair.
Yeah, Andrew WK has cultivated quite a head of hair.
Yeah. I do like Bale more than I thought I would, because, he comes off as kind of cocky, alpha male, douchey, but then, every time he's being interviewed, he comes off as, a pretty genuine guy.
Yeah, I liked him a lot more when he was, trying to find out who killed Inanna.
Yeah. Because he... I was going to say he was in the closet, but, pretty much everyone of the gods is, bisexual and sleeping with everyone else.
Very openly.
Yeah. Except for Amaterasu, who mentions that she prefers guys and thinks she's really boring because of it.
And
she's
Woden,
super sad about
specifically into tall Asian women.
Yeah. But everyone else is just sleeping with everyone else, except Minerva, because she's 12, and that's gross.
I mean, you don't know.
Lucifer mentions that she definitely wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, that's a little too young for me, even.
Me, Lucifer, the devil.
The devil. No, when Bale is being interviewed, there's one where I can't remember what it was, but he was just saying that, or it was when Lucifer was on trial. He was like, I don't condone violence, but I'm sick of all, like, this dumb journalistic shit of trying to blame someone and putting the blame on this girl that didn't do it. And then after she dies, someone asks if he's going to be at the funeral. And he's like, no, I was fighting her right before she died. I don't think her parents want to see the guy who was beating her up before she died at her funeral. They don't need that shit.
It might be a little inappropriate.
So he's like, oh, okay, he's actually a pretty decent guy.
He's a sensible man.
Yeah.
And he can grow a beard like that.
And he slept with Laura.
Did he?
Yep. At least it's pretty heavily implied.
Oh, right, because
he gives her a ride, and
yeah.
He's like, "You want to go home?" She goes, "Who's home?" He's like, "That's up to you." And then the next time you see them, they're at Ragnarok, and Inanna, she and Inanna are talking, and then Baal comes up, and Inanna teleports away, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I didn't tell him about us." And he's like, "Oh, he wouldn't care anyway."
And she slept with Baphomet after she came back to life.
Yes.
Who looked like... He looked like Tony Stark after he slept with Gamora. Like he'd been violated, like he was the victim.
Yeah, he didn't know what to think. So yeah, I guess there is a good bit of sex in the comic, but like most of it's implied.
Yeah.
Most of it's just being talked about afterwards. There's very few
sex scenes.
Yeah, I guess there is Inanna's concert right before he dies is basically an orgy.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the only actual sex scene. Everything else is just after or
before or after
or being talked about. You do see Sekhmet topless.
Yeah.
And in a room full of
also nude
probably
people.
Probably drugged up nude people.
Yeah, why does she eat all them?
Because she was drunk.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, yeah, apparently she's alright when she's drunk.
Yeah. When she's sober, she is like a literal tiger or something that just eats whatever people are nearby and acts like a cat. Oh, yeah, she loves chasing laser pointers.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like a cat.
Just like a cat person. Just like Rihanna.
She's pretty crazy.
I know, right? Taking back Chris Brown.
You know more about this than I do, so I can't really...
Dr. Jack Chris Brown Shepherd.
God damn it.
Wait, Matthew, Dr. Jack Chris Brown Shepherd Fox. Nailed it.
You happy with that?
I'm pretty thrilled, yeah.
Yeah, alright. Well, let's see, in the last issue, they, like in the little page before the actual story starts, there's a list of all the gods with little descriptions, and Dionysus is described as hive mind dance floor god. Also, loyal to the Morrigan and hates Woden. I don't remember those. I mean, I guess he is a fan of the Morrigan they mentioned, but
yeah.
Other than that, I don't remember those two relationships being, I don't know, explicit.
I mean, there's plenty we don't see. I mean, the comic has taken place over like 8 months so far.
That's true. There are big jumps.
There's big jumps and plenty that we haven't seen. That's, I guess we just have to figure stuff out ourselves.
Which is good. I like, when they show, don't tell, and actually, sometimes stuff gets left out, and you just have to figure out from the context or read between the lines.
Yeah.
It's not just beating you over the head with the story. Would you recommend these books, Dane?
I would very much recommend, like a ridiculous amount, because they're so good, and I'm like kicking myself for not having read them like before. I just recently read them. They've been coming out since 2014.
Yeah, they are real good.
And the first volume is $10. Go spend $10 on it.
Yeah, or if you can get it on sale on Amazon for $6.66.
Or less, or more. I don't care. Go buy it.
Whichever. Yeah, I was after I had already read all of what's out. I remember I looked online to just look up more stuff about it, and I found some people talking about it and saying, like, it was from like a year or so ago, so it wasn't caught up yet, but saying that they tried to read it but just couldn't get into it because it was too teen angsty or something like that.
They're bad people.
It's not. There are teen characters, and yeah, they have 2 years to live, so maybe they're a little sad sometimes.
Yeah, but I think anybody would be if someone sat them down and said, "Hey, you have 2 years to live."
But also, for the most part, they're not even that torn up about it. They're just
because I mean they have superpowers.
And they're celebrities.
Also, that
That's like
I'd care more about the superpower part.
Yeah, but that's like a double whammy of the escapist fantasies that kids have. Like, oh, I either want to be famous or I want to have superpowers, and these people get both.
I'd rather just have superpowers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a good member of the Pantheon because I would literally just like fight crime and stuff. Like, hey, when's your next concert? Like, I didn't have a first one, guy.
Yeah, I have a stage fright. So that's not going to work out.
So I'm going to go put out a fire by clapping. Excuse me?
You're going to snap your fingers, Dane, because that's what they do.
Well, do both.
You just be clapping at the same time. It's unrelated.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually do anything.
Let's be smashing my snapping fingers together.
Ananke does clap at one point to do something.
Show congratulations.
It's when Baphomet attacks Uther at Ragnarok. And then, let's see, where is it? I know she clapped at some point. Yeah. Baphomet and Morgan are fighting, and she's sending hordes of crows at him, and he's setting them on fire.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Which I assume she just conjured these sentient beings out of nowhere, and then he murdered them.
Yeah. He's wearing a leather jacket. He doesn't care about animals.
Makes sense. Yeah, and then Ananke claps, and it's just kind of like it's like when Hulk claps, and it's just a big...
Oh, I was thinking Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, who are you thinking of? It just kind of knocks
I
everyone
assume
down.
she was clapping to the beat of the opening of the Happy Days theme song.
You mean Monday, Tuesday? Happy
No,
Days?
And then the talky parts.
Dane, I'm going to have to cut that out because we don't have the rights to that song. Ooh, Fiona Staples did a variant cover in the back of Volume 2.
Yeah, I saw that. Always nice when she does something.
Except that it has Inanna looking very angry, which he never does.
She did like a variant cover for Superman, I think, in Grant Morrison's Action Comics. That's pretty good. I think
imagine.
she did a Miles Morales Spider-Man as well.
I'm still just I don't want to insult the people who did the art for Volume 3, but it's just such a weird contrast with the first 2 volumes having the same art throughout.
Yeah, even the coloring is kind of weird. It's kind of like dull.
Well, it kind of goes back and forth. Like, let's see, the first...
One of them I remember being like just the way it looked just made me think like muddy.
Yeah, the first one kind of looks like manga almost, and is definitely duller colors. The second one I think might be the same artist. I'm not sure.
I think it was all different artists.
Thought a couple of them looked similar, but it might just been
racist
coincidence. That also looks pretty dull. Then McKelvey came back for the 3rd issue of that, and that one was still kind of weird overall because it was just like I think I described it as an 80s fever dream because it just looks like an 80s music video run on like a broken VHS tape or something.
Like every Mac DeMarco music video.
Sure.
Or at least Viceroy.
A bunch of the pages look like distorted, and the color's not consistent. It's just kind of weird. It's not bad. It's just still different. And then the 4th issue, I think, was my favorite non-McKelvey issue in terms of art. That was the Amaterasu one, which is pretty good art. It's just still different. And then it goes back to like just this sort of flat, dull, boring art. And it's fine, it's not the same. McKelvey and Wilson's art just looks so like it took a lot of time. Like they actually put effort into it.
Yeah.
Not like they churned it out. But also, I don't really have to worry about insulting these people because they're not going to listen to this, let's be honest.
That's true. And if they do, sue us, bitch.
Please don't.
Yeah, please don't. We have no money.
Actually, I don't know if they could because we are not making a profit off of this.
That's true.
You have to be making a profit to sue for, like, slander?
I think it more has to be... Wait, slander? Is it slander or is it libel when it's spoken?
Slander is speech, because they both start with S. That's how I remember it.
And libel is writing, because they both start with an L and a W. I got it.
You could do literature. That would work.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Literature and writing both start with a W.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, I think as long as we believe that their art is not that great, I think we're protected. Because what was it Swaim said, that it's only slander if what you say is said with the assumption that it's correct or something like that?
Or not correct.
Yeah.
As if the guy doesn't fuck goats.
Who fucks goats? Yeah, also go watch Agents of Cracked. That's unrelated to any of this, but go watch it. It's funny.
Watch out, it's poo!
Oh, what a show.
They have fun. Alright, well, that about wraps it up then.
Yeah, that was the Wictive episode.
As Dane calls it.
As
for
you call it.
reason.
Son of a bitch.
Go buy these books and read them. There's 3 out right now. So that'll hold you over.
17 issues. It kind of bothers me that Volume 1 is white and Volumes 2 and 3 are like gray, so they look weird on my shelf.
Well, it is getting darker.
Is it? Okay, that's cool.
Like the second one's a light gray, the third one's a bit darker.
Okay, I'm fine with that then.
Oh, yes, another thing is that unless everything really is lies in this comic, it seems like it's written itself into a limited time span. Like it can't last supposedly
I think they said
more than 2
it's
years.
only going to last between 30 and 60 issues.
Okay. Well, that's good, because it's not good because I want it to end, it's good because I want a self-contained story that doesn't go on forever.
Like not like reading like a superhero comic where it's just going to go on forever.
Because those characters can't ever completely be killed off.
Except for Invincible, where they just kill everybody off all the time.
Yeah, but he's not quite mainstream.
No, he's not. He should be because it's amazing.
He should be. I don't disagree. But Marvel and DC are like the only real mainstream. Maybe not the only ones, but the two big publishers. Everything else is like just little series like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Then there's Valiant, I guess, is the next big thing after that. Where it's like a universe where, people have to be mindful of continuity with each other.
Yeah, but if it weren't for you, I would not know what the Valiant universe was, probably.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, that's our episode.
Yep.
Later.
Bye.